Hello, my name is Thomas Wichmann. I'm at St. Louis Bertrand. This is my home parish. I'm a seminarian for the Archdiocese of Louisville, and I'm at St. Meinrad Seminary. I'm just going to give you my sort of vocation story. So I grew up in Louisville. I was a cradle Catholic. My parents were very faithful in taking me to Mass every Sunday. When I went off to college, I kind of left the faith. It turned out I hadn't really made it my own when I, was in high school. So right when I started out in college, I had some medical issues. I had a traumatic brain injury. I was experiencing a lot of depression and anxiety, mental fatigue, and just brain fog. So I ended up dropping out of college. I spent a lot of years just kind of dealing with these symptoms. I saw some doctors and did a little therapy. And it was a lot of years of not healing or progressing. So they weren't the best years of my life, but I did eventually come to a doctor who offered some kind of alternative treatments to help, people who generally suffer with symptoms from traumatic brain injuries. And the one thing that he suggested was oxybaric chamber therapy treatment. So I researched the treatment. It does help people with these sorts of brain injuries. Around the time that I was being exposed to this, I was seriously reconsidering my relationship with God, if God was real. I kind of decided, if God wasn't real, there wasn't really a point to me like improving my life or getting better. So I decided, I'm going to start to pursue just becoming healthier with the idea that, God is who he says he is and that he has a plan for my life. So I ended up, I went to, I guess it's like the oxybaric place in Louisville. I had developed a relationship with the lady there, and I asked her if I could buy a chamber so I could do the full treatment. And this was around the time COVID was going on. And she told me, production is down on everything. It's especially going to be down on these oxybaric chambers. So she sent me on my way, kind of saying, sorry about your luck. When I got in the car to come home, I wasn't discouraged. I think God just gave me a great grace of faith. I just believed that God was going to help me out of my situation. So when I was driving home, I just, broke out some praise and worship music that my mom had shown me, when I was very, very young. And I was really just surrendering to the Lord, just letting him know that I trust in him. So right when I get out of my car, this lady calls me from the oxybaric place, and she says, it's a miracle. Somebody just called me and said, they want to sell me their old chamber. Do you want to buy it? And of course, I bought it. I did the treatment, but I took this as God's just direct response to my faith, and he was letting me know that, I've got you. You don't need to worry. So this was the catalyst for my serious conversion. I ended up getting back into school at U of L. I got my finance degree, and I ended up getting a job at Catholic Charities of Louisville in their finance department. But throughout this time, I was, going to daily mass. I was praying my rosary every day, going to adoration, and I was researching the Catholic faith like crazy. And, I had come to the conclusion that God was who he said he is, and the church is who she claims to be as well. And, when you have this knowledge and when you're growing in relationship with the Lord, you just realize that you have to give everything to him. So I asked God in prayer. I was like, what do you want me to do to serve you with my life? And I had like a little image pop up in my head of myself in a priest collar, and my initial reaction was no. I hadn't really thought about it, and I always picture myself getting married and having kids. So I put that on hold for a bit. I told God I would revisit this after I got out of college, but as the years continued on, I felt like God was just continually pointing to the priesthood for me. I was really attracted to the idea of just preaching, but also there were some coincidences that were just like bigger than, coincidences, and some signal graces that I just couldn't ignore. So I finally got to the point where I was like, I can't mess around anymore. I need to like try this out. I need to commit. And I reached out to the vocation director for the Archdiocese, and long story short, I'm in seminary now. So I just finished my first year at St. Meinrad, and pursuing God's, perceived will on my life has been an incredible blessing. And I'm very happy to be where I'm at right now.